At Christmas, my parents gifted my sister's child a $3,500 ticket to Disneyland. Mom hugged my niece and whispered, "You deserve everything." My son opened his present, which was a $5 gift card along with a lecture about learning gratitude. I simply smiled, packed our things, and moved out that night. A week later, they called me in tears. "Hey Reddit, there's something about Christmas that makes you believe in magic until it reveals the truth about the people you thought cared about you the most." My name's Hannah, and this is the story of the Christmas that shattered my heart and changed everything. I grew up thinking my parents loved all their grandkids equally. Sure, my sister Clara seemed to receive a little more attention, more praise, more of everything, but I told myself it didn't matter. I was married, I had my son Noah, and I thought we were happy. Then Christmas arrived. It was supposed to be a simple family dinner with gifts, but from the moment I stepped into my parents' house, I felt the difference. Clara's family got the spacious guest room, the special china, and warm hugs. We got the pull-out couch and a polite, "Oh, good. You made it." Still, I smiled. For Noah's sake, he adored his grandparents. He had spent weeks drawing pictures for them and saving his allowance to buy them small gifts. When it was time to exchange presents, Noah sat cross-legged by the tree, his eyes sparkling with excitement. My mom handed a big envelope to my sister's daughter, Lily, with a proud smile. "This one's special," she said softly. Lily tore it open, and her little gasp filled the room. "Disneyland tickets." "Grandma, really?" Mom hugged her tightly, tears in her eyes. "You deserve the world, sweetheart." Noah clapped for his cousin, too kind to notice that everyone was watching her, not him. Then Mom turned to Noah, handing him a small card. "Here you go, honey. Merry Christmas." He took it with both hands, smiling politely, until he flipped it over. A $5 gift card to a convenience store. For a moment, he tried to hide his confusion. "Thanks, Grandma," he said softly. But before I could say anything, Dad chuckled. "Now, Noah, remember, it's not about how much you get. It's about learning gratitude." Mom nodded, smiling as if it were a lesson. "Exactly. You'll appreciate things more if you earn them yourself." I felt my chest tighten. Noah looked down at the card, his little fingers gripping it tighter, his smile wavering. He didn't cry, he just said, "Thank you." That was the moment something inside me broke. It wasn't just about a gift, it was about worth. They just told my son, a sweet, kind, innocent boy, that he didn't deserve the same love his cousin received. I looked at my parents, sitting there so proud of their lesson, and all I felt was shame. Shame for letting it happen before. Shame for pretending their favoritism didn't exist. Shame for not walking away sooner. When dinner ended, I helped clear the plates in silence. My mom chatted cheerfully about Lily's Disneyland trip and how special it would be for her. Noah sat quietly by the window, playing with a tag from his $5 card. Then I made my decision. I walked over to my son, knelt beside him, and whispered, "Go pack your things, sweetheart. We're going home." He blinked. "But it's Christmas." I smiled softly. "Exactly. And I want to spend it somewhere love feels real." As he ran upstairs, my mother frowned. "Where are you going?" "Home," I replied simply. "I think we've had enough lessons for one night." Dad scoffed. "Hannah, don't be dramatic. We were just trying to teach." I cut him off. "No, you were trying to humiliate my son." Mom gasped. "That's not true." "It is," I said quietly. "And I'm done letting him think it's okay." Clara tried to intervene. "Hannah, you're overreacting. They love Noah." "Do they?" I asked, turning to her. "Because love doesn't give one child Disneyland tickets and another a $5 lecture." The room fell silent. Even Lily looked uncomfortable. I picked up our coats, took Noah's hand, and headed for the door. Mom called after me. "You can't just leave. It's Christmas." I turned back, meeting her gaze. "Then maybe you should have acted like it." With that, I closed the door behind us. As we drove home that night, Noah stared out the window, his voice soft. "Mom, did I do something wrong?" I squeezed his hand. "No, baby. You just reminded them what kindness looks like, and they didn't know how to handle it. He smiled faintly. Can we have our own Christmas tomorrow? I smiled through my tears. We will, and it'll be perfect. That night, we decorated our small apartment again. No big gifts, no fancy tree, just us, laughter, cocoa, and warmth. And for the first time, Christmas actually felt like Christmas. But I never expected what would happen next. A week later, just as life was starting to feel peaceful again, my phone rang. It was my mother, and she was crying. When I answered, I expected another excuse, but what she said instead changed everything I thought I knew about my family. It was early Sunday morning when my phone began buzzing. I didn't recognize the number at first until I heard her voice.
Mom.
She was crying. Hannah, please can you talk to me? I stayed quiet for a moment, staring at the frost on the window. I could hear her breathing shakily through the line. What's wrong, Mom? I finally asked. It's Lily, she said between sobs. She's in the hospital. My heart froze. What happened? She collapsed at school. They think it's exhaustion, maybe stress. I don't know. Clara's distraught. We're all so scared. I felt the sting of panic, but beneath it was something else. Not anger, not revenge. Just the quiet ache of realization that even when they hurt me, they were still my family. I'll be there soon, I said softly, hanging up. When I arrived, my parents were sitting in the waiting room. Mom's makeup was smudged, her hands trembling around a cup of cold coffee. Dad looked smaller than I'd ever seen him, tired, gray, defeated. Clara was crying quietly in a corner. The moment Mom saw me, she stood up, tears streaming down her face. Hannah, she whispered. I didn't think you'd come. I looked her in the eye. She's still my niece. We sat for a while, the air heavy with everything unsaid. Then Mom spoke again, her voice shaking. You were right. I frowned.
About what?
About everything. About how we treated you.
About Noah.
About love. Dad looked down, his voice low. We thought we were teaching him values. We thought giving less would make him strong, but it just made him feel unworthy. I said quietly. Mom nodded, crying harder now.
We saw it after you left.
Lily opened her gifts, and suddenly, she didn't care about Disneyland anymore. She asked where Noah was. She said she wished she could trade her ticket just to play with him again. Mom took a shaky breath. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing his little face when he opened that card. And then I realized what kind of people we'd become. For the first time in my life, my mother wasn't defensive. She was broken. I'm sorry, Hannah, she said. For everything. We were wrong. Completely wrong.
I didn't know what to say.
13 years of favoritism, criticism, and guilt, and suddenly, she was apologizing. But sometimes when the heart finally cracks, truth spills out, raw and real. Hours later, Lily woke up. She was pale but smiling weakly when I walked into the room. Aunt Hannah, she whispered. I missed you. I smiled softly. I missed you too, sweet girl. Can Noah come visit me? She asked. I want to give him something. When Noah arrived, she handed him a small wrapped box. I asked Grandma to help me, she said. It's for you. Inside was a hand-drawn picture of them together and 2 tickets to Disneyland. Noah blinked. But these are yours. She smiled. They were. But Grandma said, you deserve the world, too. Mom stood in the doorway watching with tears in her eyes, and for the first time in years, I saw something real in her humility. She whispered, I canceled the trip. Lily wanted both of them to go together instead. I felt tears sting my eyes. It wasn't about the tickets anymore. It was about finally understanding that love wasn't a competition, and it should never have been won. Over the next few weeks, things slowly changed. Mom and Dad started visiting, not with gifts, but with time. They'd bring over homemade food, sit with Noah to help him with schoolwork, and sometimes just watch movies with us. It was awkward at first. Years of pain don't heal overnight, but slowly, the walls began to come down. One night, Mom asked to talk privately. She looked down, nervous, holding a small box. I want you to have this, she said softly. Inside was a locket, one I hadn't seen since childhood. It used to belong to her mother. I kept it all these years, she said, but it always reminded me of how I failed you. I thought maybe if you wear it, it can mean something better. I took it, running my fingers over the small engraving. Love doesn't divide. It multiplies. I looked up at her and said, "You're trying, Mom. That's what matters." She smiled through tears. "Thank you for not giving up on us, even when we didn't deserve it." Months later, I took Noah and Lily to Disneyland together. We laughed until our faces hurt, rode every roller coaster twice, and shared cotton candy that melted too quickly in the sun. At one point, I caught Mom and Dad watching from a nearby bench, just smiling quietly. No judgment, just love. Sometimes I think about that Christmas, how one $5 gift exposed years of imbalance. How one act of quiet strength changed an entire family. And how sometimes walking away isn't about anger. It's about teaching people how to find their hearts again. That night, as Noah fell asleep on my shoulder, he whispered, "Mom, I'm glad you took us home that night." I kissed his forehead. "Me too, baby. Me too." Sometimes love hides behind lessons that never should have been taught. And sometimes the greatest gift isn't a trip, money, or praise. It's finally being seen as enough. Because when one mother decided to walk away, she didn't lose a family. She taught them what love truly means.